Hey folks, hope everybody's having a great day. I wanted to come to you today with a positive story from our community, our hobby, just something that highlights the good of the community. And it revolves around this card, a 2018 Topps Update, The Future is Bright, Albies Acuña, Independence Day Parallel out of 76, BGS graded 10 pristine. The only one that's a pristine 10. So this card, if you look back in my earlier videos, sometime in the first month or so, I started filming from our apartment, and in the background at some point I had put together this rainbow of these cards, and this was one of the cards that was in that rainbow. And when we moved back from Germany, I shipped myself 5 or 6 boxes of cards, and due to the expense of having to ship everything back, not just cards, but like the household goods, everything had to come out of pocket. We didn't get government help because I had because of the way that I'd been working with the U.S. military and the government at the time. I just didn't get logistics help paying for all that stuff back. So I mailed back these 5 or 6 boxes, and one of the boxes didn't make it, which was very frustrating because it had some very like PC cards in it, including all these Future is Bright cards, a bunch of the Harold Ramirez autographed cards, a bunch of other, there was like a Sapphire autographed Albies from 2018, PSA 10 that I'd had graded, and a couple of other Sapphire cards, a lot of good stuff. And the amount of insurance I had purchased for the boxes at the time covered maybe half to a third of the actual value of the boxes. Now probably closer to like a sixth or a seventh of the value. And I've mentioned in a couple of videos in the past my struggle with dealing with the USPS, trying to get the claim approved just to get some portion of the value back. But this was one of the cards that was in the boxes, this exact card. And what happened was I had filed a claim with the USPS. It had been denied. I had supplied all the information I had. To me, it was a matter of, I purchased the insurance. I purchased the insurance. Tracking shows it was never delivered. You should pay the insurance claim. It's been 8 months, 10 months, whatever it was. To them, it was, you need to show proof of value of everything that was in the box, which I did to the best of my ability. But I did have a purchase confirmation for this card. I had a photo of it that I had uploaded to the claim. And so about a week ago, I had filed my first claim had been denied. I had appealed it. That had been denied. And so I had just appealed the first appeal. And I was selling another Albies Acuña card, one that I'd gotten after I got back, and it was a pink out of 50, and I just didn't really care I don't care for the pink parallels much. So I was looking it up to see what the value of it was. And I saw this card listed for sale. And at first I thought, surely that's not mine. So I looked up the BGS report, the population report, and sure enough, there was still only one graded a 10. And then I looked at the serial number, and I found the picture that I'd uploaded to the claim, and the serial number matched. So I reached out to the seller, and I said, I hate to tell you this, but this is my card. Can I inquire as to how you acquired it? And he was very, very nice. And I actually went onto the Blowout Forum boards and looked for advice on the boards. And he's actually a member of the board also. So he replied to both the message I sent through eBay and the message board on the forum. And he told me who he had purchased it from. So I went and looked at this person's items, their sold items. And sure enough, this person had sold 5 or 6 cards that had belonged to me. And I had pictures of some of the cards that he had sold with the serial numbers matching up, the PSA graded cards. And some of them were these other parallels, Future is Bright parallels. So I reached out to the original seller, and asked him how he acquired them. And in the meantime, the message board, the message thread on the forum had grown to a couple of pages, and people were offering, to buy the card or to give the guy money. But the guy who had the card most recently, his name's Shane. I'm going to post his eBay store link down below, just because He was such an easy person to work with and such a generous person to work with. He offered just to send the card back. He said, "It's yours, doesn't belong to me. I'll just send it back." And I didn't feel right about that because he didn't do anything wrong. So why should he be out that money? Also, so I offered to buy it from him for what he paid. He said, "No, I would really rather just send it back to you." And so what we eventually agreed to was I would pay for half the value that he had paid for. So I got his PayPal information and I sent him more than half, just a little less than what he had paid for it. And so people, it was sort of playing out on the forums also, and people were offering to chip in $10 a piece to him so he could send it back to me. And he was telling them, "No, I don't want it. It doesn't belong to me anyways." Just a very nice guy. And so I sent him, more than we had agreed on, just because I felt bad about it. And he ended up mailing it back to me with some friends. So he threw in this 27 Elite Acuña out of 150, 3 of these Pete Alonso's PSA 9, this Derek Jeter Classic out of 92, and another Acuña die cut thing numbered out of 99, and a $10 bill. So above and beyond, well, the same day that I got these in the mail, early that morning before I actually checked the mail, I checked the claim status of the second appeal, and I'd called to a regional post office number. I found a number. I Googled until I could find a number of how you could actually talk to somebody instead of just a voice message thing. Talked to somebody. They sent me to another office. I talked to that office. That person said, "This is already at the Office of Second Appeals in D.C. at L'Enfant Plaza. You'll have to call there." So I called and left a message. It was an actual person. It was a female who's told you to leave your information, the tracking number, and whatever message you had to say. So I did, and that was about a week prior. And so I checked the status and saw that it had been approved and it had been paid out. So that afternoon, after the offices were open, the post offices were open, or the whatever DC office, I called to confirm, "Hey, is this really been approved?" And he said, "Yeah, the check's already been sent to the printer to be cut and sent out to you. So I will get that at some point." And again, it doesn't value the total of the check doesn't come close to the value of what was in the box, but having closure on it is great. But more importantly, the generosity of the gentleman, Shane, who sent this card back to me. And I gave him more money after I found out the check was being cut. I sent him a little more money to cover what he had paid originally, to cover the $10, to cover shipping for this. But just an outstanding gesture on his part, and someone I've really come to respect over a short period of time. So that is my story for today. This is back home. I'm keeping this card. It's going to go into the vault. Not a literal vault. I mean, it's a card that's not going to be sold. It's going to be one of the few cards that I'll not be letting go of in the near future, probably long term. It's because I love the look of it for one thing, but the story behind it now means so much to me. And I just wanted to share that with you today. So I love having this back. It's a homecoming, and I'm proud to have it with me again. And I did notice that there's some scuffing on the case. One of the boxes that I had gotten back had been repackaged by the USPS because it had been damaged, and I could tell that it looked like it had exploded. And some of the cards were damaged. Some of the cards had slid out of cases. There was scuffing on a lot of the graded cards. So I imagine that these boxes probably fell off a conveyor belt or somebody dropped them. And there was just an apathetic employee that said, "I'm not going to deal with it. They can file a claim." But it's so nice to have this home. And I appreciate you, Shane. And I hope others have come to appreciate you during this time. So everybody, that's your feel-good story for the day. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye.